The King Snow University in the United States of America, MSc degrees in Criminal Justice and Public Administration from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Bachelor of Arts degree, University of Education, Winneba, and is currently pursuing an LLB on his way to become a lawyer, hopefully. He's also previously worked at the YEA, NHIA. He's taught in many of the universities around. And politically, he's the Deputy National Director of IT and Elections, Head of Recruitment, Training, Examination, Deployment of the National Elections Directorate, and Regional Director of Elections for the Northern Region of the NDC. You can say he's a big man. Currently, he's the acting CEO of GIFEC. And if you're wondering what GIFEC is that arm of government that deals with all your very essential communication, electronic communication issues and the issues in between. My guest is Dr. Sofo Tanko Rashid Computer. Doc, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm great.
Congratulations on your new role.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
Well, it's service. I mean, service to the good people of Ghana is always, I feel elated. I've been to always serve. I've been a servant all along from my student days, revolutionary era to this. We've always been serving. I mean, even when we're the DYLG, that is the Democratic Youth League of Ghana, the wing of PNDC, we're serving. I mean, at that point, we didn't even know that there's a benefit of serving. That is when you are serving, they pay you. At that time, you're just
volunteering and serving.
Yes. I mean, that's what we're doing. I mean, but it helped us a lot. I mean, we learned a lot from it.
Right.
That experience has brought us this far. I mean, see that you don't get tired when you are working because of that training that you got from the military regime and all that. So it's good to serve. I mean,
how are you received at GIFEC the first day you went to work? Tell me about it.
I mean, it was okay. I mean, the first day it was okay. Of course, you should expect that kind of resentment when a new officer is in and then to take over from somebody who was not ready to leave office. I mean, they didn't know that the president has the power to appoint and disappoint. I mean, being a CEO is at the behest of the presidency.
That's right.
I mean, no matter what, at any point in time, he can decide to relieve you. I mean, so that was the difficulties we had initially. But, well, we went through it and everything went on well. I was supposed to take over on Wednesday, but eventually took over on Friday.
Okay.
I mean, because of the few hiccups. But everything, it was quite smooth. And then we are gelling on well.
I see. What do you do at GIFEC? What does GIFEC do? For those who don't understand your scope of work, what do you do?
Well, GIFEC came in 2008 under Act 775. That is Electronic Communication Act. And GIFEC is known as a Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communication. Basically, came in to take care of underserved and unserved communities in the country. Because we realized that the Communication Act initially was only taking care of the urban areas and it's virtually being run by the telecos. And the telecos will not go to areas where there's no economic viable to go and put up their mast and all that. So because of that, a lot of our communities virtually cut off from the digital world. So this act came in to try to bridge that kind of divide between the urban and the rural areas, so that the communication, that these telecos will contribute a percentage of their investment to a fund, and that fund will be used to take care of these unserved and underserved communities, especially areas that basic telephony, that rural telephony is lacking. So we'll bring it to their doorstep. Also to bring basic ICT or digital skills to those rural, unserved and underserved communities. So basically, there are 4 major areas that GIFEC goes into. The first one being the rural telephony, where there are no network completely. A whole town, you go there, you and I, you are media men, you cannot do any reporting there because there's no network. So those areas, the telecos found it, and in fact, it's not economic viable, because they are looking at the numbers there. I mean, just 200 people or 300 people or 500, and they think that you should go and put up a huge mast and all that. They're not going to get the returns because most of their returns come from data of late. And they think that those areas, they will not be buying data and all that kind of thing, so they won't go in there. So GFEC will now go in to make sure that we provide the infrastructure for them to be network connected to the main digital, so that they can also make calls. So that is what we go in. That's our first thing. So rural communities where there are no network, then we provide the infrastructure, and they will get it. So that's one aspect. Then we also deal into what we call cyber labs. Now these cyber labs, we have what we call DTC. We work with the German and then ITU, International Telecommunication Union, came out with a program known as DTC, Digital Transformation Centers. Now, these digital transformation centers are supposed to be centers center of excellence, where training of ICT and digital skills will carry on. Interestingly enough, the administration of His Excellency Atamils, when Haruna Idrisu, Honorable Haruna, was then the communication minister, built these centers, which we named them as community information centers. So across the districts. Now, these community information centers were meant to teach basic ICT skills and bring this thing, internet service to the doorstep of the rural people. So it started somewhere to 2009. Build it in collaboration.
I think I saw one in Jumapo, the Eastern region also.
Fantastic. So we call them information centers. Unfortunately, when this the former administration came in, I don't know why they refused not to follow through that ICT centers. In fact, we Christian in community information, so we call them CICs. But it's like the designation was giving some people problem. They didn't understand why information center. So they thought it was for information service department and some other agencies. But actually was meant to carry through digital skills, training of digital skills and all that in the community. They ran them down. So the CICs are virtually gone. You go, just last week, I trekked about 8 regions to have a first-hand information about the CICs, and it's an eyesore, completely run down. They've virtually done
so you're saying that you put infrastructure in place, to be run from the communities, to enable people to be connected.
They will be able to come there and do all their digital activities that they want.
But it's been run down.
It's been run down completely.
Which areas are these? I'm interested.
They're in the districts. Look, I was at Japan, that is
in the Eastern region.
In the Eastern region, the place is now being used by a military as a home. I mean, you see it, definitely, but they've taken over and they are sleeping in there. Nothing is running in there. If you go to Jessica in Electoral region, the OT region, Jessica, completely run down. The roofs, everything taken out. In Quanta South, in Quanta North, all of them run down. Some are even used by Ghana Health Service clinic. They use part of it as clinic. When I went, I was asking them, no, you use this part as clinic. Even look at how dirty the whole place is. If you bring a patient here, the patient will even die. But they have no fuss. They had to use it. I have pictures. I can share them. And then you see, we went all the way to northern region, Volta region, Upper East, Upper West. Some have been locked down for the past 8 years. They've not opened it. It's become a haven for reptiles and other things. And I asked myself, so this story of digitalization, that was being sung all over, where were they doing it? Because these are the centers that are supposed to run this digitalization we're talking about.
That's correct.
But right now they are run down. They are not even run. If you go, even interestingly, I was at Wale Wale. I went to the secondary school, and the headmaster lamented a lot. They sent me to their ICT lab because we also deal with secondary schools and ICT centers. We provide them the secondary school labs and train the teachers how to use the digital tools to impact the teaching and learning processes. Completely run down. They don't. For what I saw, there was some second generation computers that they put in there. I said, how can you teach people with this kind of thing? We have gone past those stages. So that is another aspect. Then we also go into what we call girls in ICT. The urban areas in unserved and underserved communities, where we train the ladies, the young girls in ICT, how to use ICT to better their lives. Okay, so we go into that. Then we have female teachers in IT. I just launched that one in northern region for the 3 northern regions, Savannah, Northeast, and northern region. Teachers who are into IT, especially in the second cycle schools. we were able to bring them together at a center in Tamale.
So they're using the free Wi-Fi that the previous government performed?
No, they don't have it. That thing was just a gimmick.
Oh, how? Please.
I'm telling you, I've been there.
The former vice president launched a free Wi-Fi for secondary schools. It was there. We saw the videos, the pictures. You say they don't exist?
It's a hoax. Just call any secondary school right now, ask them whether there's a free Wi-Fi there. Just call, just one.
Is it a matter of infrastructure that's not there, or the service that is not being provided?
The way they did it, it was just meant for propaganda piece. I've been to Bimla Secondary School. I stopped there. I stopped at this way, Karachi Secondary School. I stopped at Plaza, Pansek to check.
Right.
Nothing is going on there. They even show me this thing that they brought, the items they brought to say they were doing the Wi-Fi. That the day they launched it, it didn't even reach 1 week. Nothing was just going on. As we speak now, there is no school that has free Wi-Fi. That's not.
You are kidding me.
I'm telling you, I said, okay,
but monies were spent.
Yes, that is where the problem is. Talking of money was spent. I have CICs which they say they completed another thing. When I went there, it was on lintel level, full of grass, reptiles, all the place. But on books, they've completed it and it's functioning. This is the kind of system we're running. And then, so the CICs are virtually gone. The community information centers are virtually run down. We have to bring them back. Even we have what we call innovation centers, which were built as far back 2016. Every region had one. We have 10 of them across the country. These are state-of-the-art building with equipment which was supposed to run. That's what we call the innovation centers, ICT for innovation center. I suspect now for 8 damn good years they were locked. Nobody opened them. I was at Upper East. I saw theirs. I went to Navringo, saw one. Went to Wa, saw one there. It's an eyesore, terribly bad. Locked down, no open. And you can imagine if something is locked down for 8 years, your guess is as good as mine. People have gone in to remove the air conditioners, remove the louvers, taking some of the computers which are put in the array. So they've run them now.
So it's money that we have to get back.
You have to get back. So
are you done doing the estimation of how much we may need to get all these back on?
We are now putting the figures together. It's running to some huge distance. So invariably, the GFEC that I'm not surprised a lot of people didn't know much about GFEC because the way they were running it, either they were doing it like a black market.
Okay.
We hide behind the scene and do our own thing, so people will not even know that this is what they're supposed to do. That is why a lot, even senior journalists, don't know what GFEC was about until we came in and started talking about it. Up our game at the Public Affairs Department, appointed a director of public corporate affairs, and then people now begin to know that there's something like that is supposed to help us in terms of our network challenges, in terms of our ICT labs in the secondary school, in terms of MMDA. A body is supposed to provide them laptops or computers to train them how to digitize their.
And you said these things were not done.
That is the surprise thing. And interestingly enough, when I came in, I went to the warehouse. I saw a lot of items packed in there, procured for about 2 years back, and they are rotting away. You know, these items, they have lifespan.
Right.
Even mobile phones, it has lifespan. People don't know.
Right.
When you buy a mobile phone, you don't know the lifespan. You are always going to be at a repairer's shop to repair your mobile phone. I mean, the lifespan it has reached its with end, so you have to throw it away and get another one. That's one people don't know. So it's just like laptops, desktops, and all that. It has lifespan. So if you procure them and you don't send them to the user agencies and you keep them in a dark room where it's not ventilated, my brother, in the next few years or so, they are gone. So we have items like that in the store, rotting off, tablets, a lot of them.
Can they be used now?
It cannot be used. It's of no use.
But it's only 2 years, you say?
It's of no use. The time they were procuring, they didn't even look at the technology used for that.
Okay.
They were just interested in making money. So they are virtually out of use. Some desktops are there. For instance, when we're going to do this, the coding program, we needed desktop at that point, and we had some in the warehouse. When we brought it, we saw that the RAMs for those ones were so low that it cannot be used for this. And 4 gigabyte RAM, what can you going to use it for? I mean, and you procure plenty of them.
4 gig RAM?
Yes, gig RAM. You go and procure it, say you want to do digitalization. What kind of digitalization are you going to do? That's what I'm saying. And now you go and do this. You wasted state money. They're just junk. It's just to do some place and other thing. Even some places you can use it to access them.
Are people going to be held accountable for this?
Of course, that is where we are. When you do that, then people say you are witch hunt. That is the situation we have found ourselves in Ghana. When people take actions which will impede the progress of the country, and then you want to take
remedial actions,
then they run to the political platforms and start talking. You are witch hunting, you are doing this, you are chasing our people and all that. Otherwise, you go there. Look, UPS, that a lot of them they've procured, they have become bad. The batteries are all gone. And then you have to now go and buy new batteries again to come and activate them. It doesn't make sense. And I said, why will I procure items when I don't need it now? As soon as you procure, send it to the user agency. Why is it that we have a lot of schools with a laptop? Look, I've been inundated with requests of laptops and desktops from government agencies. Then I ask myself, so the former administration, what were they doing? So this word digitalization, because if the user agencies are there and you have this, and you kept them in the warehouse, are you not punishing the state?
You sound very surprised and disappointed at once.
A lot of disappointment, because I am not brought up like that. From the training we got from DYLAG, you don't keep items in the room. They are for use. When you procure them, use them. I don't subscribe to a situation, items be packed in the warehouse. Left to me, you won't have warehouses packing items in there. As soon as they are brought, there are a lot of, the user agents, why you are bringing them. So as soon as they arrive,
the former Minister for Communications says will also not be happy with you that you are saying all these things, that she had an agency under her did not do anything. She will not be happy with you.
She should be happy because we are now bringing it to the doorstep. The lamps. Look, there are a lot. Even at the rural telephony, the Parliamentary Strategy Committee met us, and I'm even preparing to appear before them on communication on the issue of the rural telephony. They went into a contract with this thing, China CNTCI. To execute about 2016 rural telephony sites. As we speak now, they have done only 1,009. And most of the things that they even done, we went around and saw it. I have pictures of them. They are like white elephants standing there. Traffic is not passing through it. Nothing is going on. It's working on that. And we made them. We made the Huawei group and the contractor Ascent group to look at the project, what they have done so far. Even the chairman of that has fired a question on it, because the technology the Huawei people brought, in terms of the rural telephony, they're saying that technology doesn't exist as of now, because they are going to be running on 2G and other things. Who does 2G now on voice and data? That is the problem. And so people are moving to 5G now, and even I'm told China, they are even trying to move to 6G. And then we want to concentrate our rural telephony on 2G.
In fact, I got back from the UK not long ago. Yes. I had 6G on my phone.
Fantastic. 6G. Beautiful. So the kind
of speed internet.
Yeah, the kind of system that we are running, we have to move away from always thinking that because they are rural people, they should not be part of the digital world, and therefore they don't deserve better. We should go and give them this kind of thing. To make call, they will struggle. When we're going, I was always activating to see when you are going around and you see our that is our rural
right.
So you always see when you move out the hinterland and you check your network and you see R come on it. That means that is our rural telephony.
Okay.
Whether it's active or not, you will see it. If it's not active, you also see. When we're going, I was checking all these things to be sure that this site is functioning, this site is functioning, this site is not functioning. These are the things we're supposed to do. But your guess is as good as...
How are you collaborating with the telcos, for example, in the hinterlands where they may not have offices where people can procure SIM cards, get internet connectivity, because they need a service provider, and the service provider may be far away from them. They will have to travel 2, 3, 4 hours, and when they get there, they tell them we have a quota for the day, so if you don't fall within that number, you are not getting service and all of that. Has that come to your attention? How are we fixing that?
Yes, it's true. You see, interesting, and that's what I'm saying. We are not a subvented government agency in the sense that it's the telecos that give us a percentage of their investment.
Right.
So our board is made up of the telecos and the minister and myself and the parliamentary subcommittee chair. Now, that's how it is constituted. So we have a very close collaboration with the telecos. The major one, of course, they are the three, MTN, the Telecel, and AT. I mean, we work together. So what we do is that when we provide our infrastructure in the rural community, then they leverage on it. It's connected to their main tower so that they can provide services to our communities. So as soon as it is traffic passed through, our our infrastructure in the rural community, then they begin to know that this place network is now functioning. So you will see that they will now make their services available to those communities, so that it makes it easy for them. So as soon as it is active, you will see Telecell and then MTN. Mostly it's the MTN, the rural people are so much interested. You will see that they send some of their facilities to those communities to make, because the more they go in there, the more we also make money from the percentage they are going to get. So we will even encourage more for them to move in. And that is why His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is so much interested in it. I mean, when we're taking up this job, he sat us down and gave us schooling on it, because, you know, he's a former communication minister.
That's right.
And he understood this thing very well. And when he was speaking, I said, this man, he might be a technology person, because he understood how the whole thing functions. And he's much interested because he went around the country in campaign. And so that certain communities he went, especially Western North region, cocoa growing area, were completely cut off. You go there, you are completely cut off. Upper East, Upper West, when we're going, in fact, I use the route. We will travel for about 10 kilometers.
Oh, you didn't fly?
No, I didn't fly. I went by route. Throughout all the 8 regions I traveled, I went by
But you saw the good roads that have been done.
Which roads? My brother. I said, which road? The roads were even deteriorated. The road, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama constructed from Fufusu Johnson to all the way to Swala. Go there, trek that road and see.
You didn't see the over 10,000 kilometers of roads that have been done, which...
These were just hawks. They just sat in the crowd. And the MPP are expert in propaganda.
Year of roads, second year of roads, another year of roads.
I'm telling you, completely nothing. The roads, I'm not surprised there's a lot of traffic on airline now. Because the route, if you really want to survive and survive well, you go by the road 3 times, you go 6 feet.
I don't understand.
I'm telling you, the road is terribly bad. Terribly bad. And so that's why there's much traffic. People are now flying left and right, because the road, unless you have a very strong vehicle that can cruise on such route, if you go there 1, 2, 3 times, my brother,
your car is gone.
You end up in Kolebu.
I see.
Yes, this is a problem. So we are on course on that. And then we are looking, I went through it and I saw it myself.
You saw this, you talk about the school children. I'm concerned about school children in ICT and how sometimes you go to a school, there's no electricity, there's no computer. You find teachers trying to innovate, drawing up the dashboard or the interface on the board, trying to be creative and innovative because they don't have the computers, they don't have electricity, and they are literally stuck. But when it's time to examine the students, they take the exams pretty much like all the students in other schools that were privileged to have had all those things. How are we trying to bridge the gap? What do you have to do about it?
Yes, and that is what we are talking about. That is where we come in strongly as an agency to make sure that we should be able to assist these rural communities. And that is why I prioritize in terms of giving this equipment, desktops and laptops to those areas, because some of the secondary school I visited during my visit to the 8 regions, I realized I went to one secondary school. They are doing this thing called one core course, elective ICT, in the secondary school there, and they had only 20 desktop computers, and have student population of 200 who run this thing, pursue course in ICT. 20 computers. So you can imagine what are they going to be doing with this to be examined. And the type of computers they were using, when I look at it, is more or less second generation computer. Those are in the 80s. Those big
Pentium 2 and
Pentium, those kind of funny stuff. They were still struggling with it. And that's when I said, no, this is not fair enough. You can't do this. Okay, we will come in. And so we're talking. Interestingly, now we are opening up regional offices. You know, GFEC didn't have regional offices. Imagine a whole huge agency like this. They were running what is known as a zonal office. One person for a whole zone. I mean, the whole region.
How big was the zone?
A zone is a region. They describe it as a region. Because, for instance, you take Greater Accra, they have only one officer
who is running the whole
region. You can imagine what kind of work they were doing. That's why you have all these difficulties. CICs being run down, secondary schools not being inspected to find out whether their ICT centers are working or they are not working. Nobody, one person with a driver. That is it. And so we have come in, we are trying to activate it. So we are now upgrading to a regional statute. Okay. So we have a regional secretariat of GIFEC. So, and we'll get a lot of staff, people who understand this digital skills, people of background in IT and all that. Some will be research officers, some will be monitoring evaluation officers, some will be sustainable, this and we call it sustainability officers. Right. Now they will go around in these areas that we are talking of to make sure that if their school is having difficulty, they can easily get us their report and we move in there. Right. That is what we are trying to do, so that this thing will be bridged. These difficulties, secondary schools or junior high schools, they're having difficulties. Because I went to some area and they were talking about IT. They don't even have a laptop, the whole place. The ladies who came for the training, these are ladies who are teaching ICT. And they don't have laptops.
The teachers don't have laptops.
They don't have laptops.
But they were giving laptops.
Interestingly, they don't have. I said, it's like we have the cameras, the footage when I launched, and they were requesting that, look, this training you are going to give, if you don't give us laptops and we go back, we might forget.
They had the TM1 laptops. You don't
those
remember
funny
that.
things they were talking about. Now they are chasing them for their laptops. They don't have it. I have them, 30 of them. As soon as I mentioned to them that by the time they finish their training, each of them is going to give in a laptop. There was an uproar in the room. The clap alone shows that as if I was elected as president of Ghana. That tells you that they are considering it as an essential commodity to them. Laptop. At this age, laptop is an essential commodity. Where people have gone past those things. Why should we have that difficulties as a country? And then we hear this story of digitalization all over the place. And the whole schools. These are 30 teachers coming from secondary schools for Northeast region, Savannah region, and Northern region. Each of them, none of them had a laptop.
But they were teaching ICT.
And they are teaching ICT. These are ICT teachers.
Currently.
So, currently. You can imagine the kind of teaching they are doing.
For students who go and write ICT exam.
Yes, that is it. So we promised.
Did you ask them how they were doing it?
Only God knows. I've been one before. I've been an ICT teacher.
Right.
We're the pioneers in teaching ICT in teacher training colleges.
Right.
Thankfully, I won the best ICT teacher.
Congrats.
Yes, in 2007. I mean, so I know this things. I know the challenges in the rural areas, how to integrate IT into the normal teaching and learning processes and all that. I mean, the challenge is there. And they are not the only people. Look, do you know that IT cuts across all subjects areas?
Right.
If you want to be the best mathematics teacher, go and learn IT. You want to be the best agric teacher, go and learn IT. You use the tools in ICT to make it easier for you to teach in those subjects. Instead of you still worrying yourself in all archaic libraries, books, which doesn't make sense to anybody. Now there are a lot of tools in the digital world that you can use. Within the click of a button, you see all manner of new things in the field that you have found yourself. And the children, teaching and learning become easier. So most of our teachers who have difficulties in teaching the children because they don't have the background in IT. So they are still using the old method, old skills, old news that they learn, and they are still doing those things. So the children go in there and they are always sweating in writing exams. And so they'll need to move away from that. I had the luxury of using IT, and I always get 100%. My students all the years I was in the lecture room.
Let's look at the future of GIFEC under your leadership. You just started. You have 4 years. You have done somewhat, maybe a month, a little over that. What does the future look like for GIFEC in Ghana?
Well, what we're trying to do first, we've succeeded to some extent rebranding GIFEC.
Right.
I mean, to bring it to the public limelight for the general public to know that there's this agency which does this kind of job for the good people of Ghana. We've succeeded in that aspect, and it's getting on well. What we are trying to do is we want to amend the act, come in with a new act to integrate digital economy into our activities. So it's not only going to be the training and impacting digital skills, but the implementation.
Right.
How to make sure that we properly integrate our economy using digitalization. And so that the rural folks and the urban folks are all together in this device, so that we can leverage a situation where we reduce the tendency of manually handling activities in our agencies, government agencies and private sector, so that we can all be on the same page. For instance, I'll give you an example. if we are able to digitalize most of the rural communities, do you think that the difficulty Electoral Commission is going over pink sheets will be thin or repassed?
Do you still have an MP in Ablekuma North, for example?
Of course, very soon, it won't be long, we will have MP.
But we don't. The people of Ablekuma North do not have a representative.
Yes, it's better for them to have a proper representative than an illegal person.
But 1 + 1 is always 2. Why is it difficult for the EC to put it
they should
together?
be, because the EC, the current EC, they have problem with arithmetic. You know it.
No, I don't know it. You are telling me.
We told them in 2024 we're chasing them with their wrong calculations from registration to publishing of figures. They were always getting it wrong, and NDC had to come in to help them until even the election day. And so that one day they have that problem, and because of
you say the EC has a mathematics problem.
of course
They don't understand maths.
whether they intentionally don't understand. Somebody can intentionally refuse to understand something because he had other ulterior motives. They did that in 2020 and got away with it. This time they had a stark opposition from the NDC. Thank God to Dr. Mani Boama and my other colleagues. We refused to be cheated, and Ghanaians stood by us. Otherwise, they were going to cheat. Imagine they bring the register with that this in summaries of the register. You remember that night? We fought each other up to midnight. What were they trying to do? This simple thing. You have put figures together, names together, and you can't tell me the totals. That was an ulterior motive. They were trying to rig the election. And we exposed them big time. And so we know what they are about, what they were trying to do. And the same thing they're trying to do at Blake-Manoff, we won't allow them.
But the court gave a directive. They give a direction that go back there, go and count the votes, and make sure that you provide security, IGP. Why is it difficult to finish that simple task that the court asks you to go and do?
The difficulty lies on what I was just trying to tell you. We deal with pinches. That is why we are doing manual election in Ghana.
Right.
Currently, we are doing manual election. We don't do electronic voting or electronic collation of results. Everything we do in Ghana is manual.
That's correct.
So, and the manual elections says that the Electoral Commission keeps the original pink sheets and give the political parties carbon copies.
Right, the duplicates.
That's the duplicates. And so you take one, Johnny take one, computer also take one.
Right.
And then the one EC will hold the original one. So if there's a contention, we use the original one. If they can't get the original, bring your carbon copy and I bring my carbon copy.
Right.
We'll look at it. Is it from the original? Then we say we'll use it too.
Right.
That is our problem.
That's simple.
Simple and short. It's a manual process. But here's the case. You've gone to election. Finish. Then you go for the collation center. Some hoodlums came and vandalized the place. Destroy your manual edition, your carbon copies. I also don't have my carbon copies. The one who is supposed to hold the original also insisted, I can't get my original too. I've lost them. So in this situation, Johnny, what do you expect us to do? And so we came to a position that three of us, NDC, MPP, Electoral Commission, all of us don't have 62 polling stations resource. They have been vandalized. We don't have it. Then Johnny now come and tell me that he has scanned copies. And you expect me, computer, to accept what Johnny is. Johnny, who is my opponent, he's saying that he has scanned copies in his laptop. And therefore, you, the Electoral Commission, use my scanned copies to declare the results. And the Electoral Commission acceded to that. And you expect me, computer, to accept that. That is where we are. Whilst we're fighting them in court, they organized themselves, sat in their office, and were using MPP scan copies. We warned them, you can't use scan copy because I can also scan something and bring.
Right.
I can design it. I have a graphic background. Just give me a laptop now, and I'll design something for you. You'll be shocked. I'll design a pink sheet, put figures on it, and tell you this is a scan copy. So we won't agree scan copies, easy, because they were bent on making sure that they will rig the election for MPP. They started using their
But you can't say that they wanted to rig the elections for the
question
MPP.
is that why will you don't have original copies? You are the arbiter.
Right.
And you are using my opponent's scan copies to declare the results. Then when they hit a knack, they decided to say that, let's bring the presiding officers to authenticate the scan copies. The presiding officers came there and told them, look, this one is not mine. I didn't do this. I didn't put this figure. So out. Another person also came, this figure I didn't put it. That means there was something wrong with the scan copies.
Right.
The EC, we warned them, they wouldn't understand. The returning officer of the constituency, midway said, this thing they are forcing me to do is an illegality. My conscience will not, so I'm not going to do this work again. Live cameras, he announced it. I'm sure your people were there. They saw it. He said he's not going to do it again because his superiors were forcing him to continue to use these scan copies. And he said, I won't do it. That stalled the process. You see how the god of Rabna, Obin of NDC, came in.
But in the midst of all the confusion, Rabna and Electoral have both put up messages congratulating the constituents, billboards in fact. One giant billboard, two giant billboards there. There's no winner, but both of you are congratulating the constituents.
There is a winner. As of December 8th, Rabna was declared the winner of the constituency. And the one who does the declaration is the returning officer, per the law. Go and take CI 127. Who does the declaration? Regulation 30, it says the returning officer. If he announces somebody as a winner and you are not satisfied, you go to court.
Right.
Under Article 91, the High Court, and file election petition there. Why is it that the NPP refused to go to file election petition, but they were running to electoral commissioners? Because they feel that they were comfortable with the electoral commissioner than the court. And the electoral commissioner also constituted themselves into judges and said, no, we are not going to accept this election declaration from the returning officers because so and so were not part of it. That it didn't lie in their mouth.
Would the NDC agree to a rerun of the elections in Ablekuma?
Of course, we want a rerun for the 62 polling stations.
And what is the MPP saying?
They are running away. They don't want to go for a rerun. They are insisting that they must declare them using their fake scan copies. We say we will also accept it. That's why we are.
The EC says this is not a rerun problem, or they can go through the processes and get you the answers. They just need security to be able to do that. The court has said give them security.
They don't have. You see, they did that for 59 areas. In these 59 polling stations, some of their presiding officers came and disagreed to them. Their own returning officer said, no, some of them have problems with them. 59. Now, this EC have constituted themselves into some judges and said, no, we have accepted the 59. Whether problems or no problem. And it's left with 3. Johnny, that is where we are. And they are now talking of some 3 polling stations left. Security should come and help them to add a 3 polling station. You see, this EC, they are the problem of this country democracy.
Oh, right.
I'm telling you, because when we got to Domi Kwabenya, the issue of Domi Kwabenya, they wanted to go for a rerun. You remember?
I remember that.
Good. We told them you can't do a rerun because we have the carbon copies from those 3 polling stations. These are the carbon copies. They went and brought the presiding officer for those polling stations. We gave it to them. She authenticated it and said, it's true, yes, this is my carbon. Because I didn't get the proper pink sheet, I entered the results in the specimen pink sheet. But this is the results. Actually, the other parties who were there, the NPP also believed that, yes, these were the results. We all were there. Only that she made a mistake and entered in a different pink sheet. They agreed and they saw it because we had the carbon copies. And that's how the results was declared for Domi Kwabenya. Now we come to Ablekuma North and you are running away from rerun. Meanwhile, you wanted to rerun 3 polling stations in Domi Kwabenya. Now, because Ablekuma North, they know that if they go for a rerun, MPP will lose miserably. They're running away. They rather want to rely on MPP scan copies. That is where we are. We won't accept that.
Operation Recover or Loot, is it another big talk or is it a reality?
It's a reality. It's a reality.
But we have not seen any recoveries yet.
I said it's a reality. We just heard that Leonard Attorney General spoke about it recently. The dockets are ready. They've prepared everything set. And they will hit the court. In fact, they started with the signal bureau guy.
Right.
He's already
Charles
Dubois is gone to court. He's going to face his makers over there at the court. Look, we are not going to relent on it. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is focused on the job. He wants to make sure that we clean this. Resetting the country means a lot. It is not only the institution, even our own minds. We must reset our mind in order to get where we are going. These things people have done, if we don't nip it in the bud, Ghana will go nowhere. Travel out, you see how beautiful other countries are. We can do it here. It's just the way we are thinking. One person will go and open a bank in his or her room and be taking Ghana money, change them into foreign currencies and put it under her bed and be sleeping on top of
Please,
the
the
bed.
matter is in court. It's sub judice. Let's not go there.
The thing is, the evidence is there.
It's sub judice.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that the evidence is in court. And they are talking of monies that you and I, my grandmothers and other things, when they hear it, they'll jump from their grave. That they've never seen this kind of. Even workers in Ghana who are working. I heard them. We were interviewing the labor consultant. They are talking of we might help them research. If the research cannot work, if their salaries are not there.
Right.
But they've forgotten to point out the hypocrisy in the system that has made them to where they are. Those who were running the country and keeping money under their bed. And some fake currencies people have started. You saw the fake currencies. Japan and Co. were arrested. Why were they doing that? Were they not trying to damage the image of the country? If these fake currencies had gone into the system, you and I will know what it would have done to this country economy. These are the characters we are dealing with. And so His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is bent on making sure he sanitizes all this. They loot those who have looted state land. Some have even behind the scene are talking tough that they want to return them. They will return them because they will come after them. We won't allow it. Go to cantonment areas, Afro Northern Region, Tamale, they've virtually sold all the state lands. It's very bad. You go to West Hospital, which has some plot just opposite
my beloved GBC's land. Huh?
No, they've sold everything. I've heard they're putting up some petrol filling stations around those areas and all that. Why are we doing this to ourselves? That is the legacy of the MPP they have bequeathed on us. And they think they'll get away with it. No. President John Dramani Mahama told us, all his appointees. That is why he's so much interested in declaring assets. He said he's very much interested about
That's right.
it. Yes.
Have you declared yours?
Sharp. When he said he didn't even blink an eye within a week, we were the first pioneers to go and declare all this thing and put it there for them. Because we want to make sure that...
But would you be happy if your assets came to the public?
Oh, no, why not? I told him I'm a product of DYLG. You know those areas. You know what where the small boys chasing them. So we know what we are talking. And if you look at remnants of all these processes, their lifestyle looks different. That's why they survive up to this level. Those who very, very closer to the capitalists, they fell off along the line. Because we know what we are doing. When the resources of the states are put before you, it's for the goods of the people. Let the people be satisfied, and you also be happy. If the people are happy, it's just like you are a family head in the house. If the children are happy, you are happy.
Have you been listening to the Ghana Bar Association and the MPP on the suspension of the CJ and the petitions to get her out and the issues around it? Have you been listening to them? What are your thoughts?
I've listened to them severally. This is not the first time I've listened to Bar Association. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all.
Why are you not surprised?
Oh, no, I've listened to them severally. From PNDC, when they came in 1992 Constitution, they managed to put them in the Constitution. You see, we were so magnanimous by recognizing them in the 1992 Constitution. You know, Professor Azar is saying they should be taken out. Because there are a lot of other associations in Ghana which are not in the Constitution, which are also very important bodies. But you see, the PNDC at that time, very magnanimous, recognized their importance. Although they refused to participate in the writing of the Constitution.
Right.
These people.
Right.
They have not seen anything good. Today, they are enjoying the Constitution, 1992 Constitution. They are talking and speaking loudly. If they had participated, some of the difficulties they are talking, they would have made sure that it's sanitized. Now, 8 years, Nanado was the president of Ghana.
Right.
Didn't you have a Ghana Bar Association?
We did, of course.
And so what were they doing? They virtually, some of them said they were now watching cartoons and other things. They see nothing, they hear nothing. Is it because Nanado was one of them, a lawyer, and they felt that this is our lawyer president sitting there, so we have no business in criticizing and what he was doing. He was running down the Constitution left and right. Just running down the Constitution, nobody said anything. Even the Supreme Court cited Nanado for violating this Constitution on the issue of Domlevu.
That's right, 9-0.
Yes. What did they see? Did you see any love letter from Ghana Bar Association? They were quiet. You see, sometimes when you talk, then they say you are attacking them. This hypocrisy in this country is becoming legendary. That is why the country seems not to be developing. We must face it and tell people their face. That look, John Dramani Mahama is not the first president of this constitution. Several presidents came before he came. They used the same articles in this constitution to govern the country. He's doing same. He hasn't done anything wrong.
But they say it sounds like an attack. The MPP says it sounds like an attack on the judiciary. We should protect the integrity of the judiciary. GBA talks about the rule of law, fairness, and all of those principles. They do have a point, don't they?
When Venerable Kandapa, National Security Minister,
right,
cautioned the Supreme Court over the way of their one-way ruling, was it an attack on the judiciary? This was a minister, cabinet minister, the one in charge of national security, told them, live cameras, that this your one-way ruling, at least it's also giving us headaches, sleepless nights. That's not what he told them, that they should do something about it. So that time, GBA didn't see anything wrong with that. They were comfortable with the way, to the extent, even the governed at that time, the ruling class, were not even comfortable with the way they were behaving. Although it was in their benefit. But they themselves were not comfortable. Because they saw through that some of the ruling it was so interesting. It was so predictable that anytime you were going to court, you knew what results you were going to get. To the extent the National Security Minister spoke extensively against this and think that was not the best way to go. Look, Nana Akufo-Addo appointed over 50 judges to the High Court, Appeal Court, and the Supreme Court. Currently, as we speak, there are 13 justices at the Supreme Court.
Right.
2 of them were appointed by 2 former presidents.
Right.
The acting Chief Justice.
In fact, there are 14. So there's a president.
The president is there. Because she's suspended, we say she should stay.
Right. But she remains a judge until the matter is decided.
It's decided. She's still a judge. So Nana, this Bafo Boni, Justice Bafo Boni, was appointed in 2008
by President Kufuor.
President Kufuor. Then Puama, who was appointed then President Mahama in his first time.
Right.
The rest of the 12 are appointed by Nana Akufo-Addo.
What's your point?
My point is, who is attacking the judiciary? What has he done that he has attacked the judiciary? Professor Kukuza Azar wrote a petition to Nana Akufo-Addo that Justice Tokono should be removed from office. Nana Akufo-Addo receiving the petition under Article 146 sent the petition to the Council of State to look at. The Council of State sat through it, saw that there was no prima facie case after they looked at it. And so they delivered their verdict to Nana Akufo-Addo back that we haven't found anything wrong against the performance of the Chief Justice.
Right.
So therefore dismiss the matter. Nana Akufo-Addo didn't blink his eye. He dismissed the petition outright. He went through the process. That is why he didn't sit in his office at the Flagstaff House and just dismiss it after the petition came.
Right.
He sent it to the Council of State. Fast forward, a new president came into power. Another group also saw something wrong with the same Chief Justice and also wrote the same article, wrote a petition to the president. The president looked at the petition and said, okay, this one, I don't have the power to dismiss or accept it. I have to pass it through. And the same article, the same way Nanado did, and send it to the Council of State. They even sent the copy to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice returned her response to the Council of State. They wanted to hear from her. After listening to her on her responses, they found that there is a prima facie case for her to answer. Based on that, under Article 146, he has to set a committee, 5-man committee, to look into the matter. And then under the same Article 146, Clause 10, the president has discretionary power. And for the benefit of the...
296, you mean?
I mean 146, Clause 10.
But the discretion emanates from Act 296.
They are how to exercise it.
Okay.
That's why you said 296.
Right.
How to exercise the discretion. And I'm saying that the Clause 10 talk of the discretionary powers of the president. And if the president has discretionary power, is he the first person to exercise discretionary power in Ghana? Johnny, listen. Where a petition has been referred to a committee under this article, the president may, that is the discretion, may, in the case of the Chief Justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, by warrant signed by him, suspend the Chief Justice. 1992, written by the learned Ghanaians. In fact, some of them were farmers, they were masons, seamstress. They all came together and put these things together. We agree, yes. I voted on that year. Yes, to this
referendum.
The referendum. We did it. Adubahin and Co were running around and said we should vote no against it. We know them. We know how they are. That we should vote no against this. Judges have discretion, or they don't have discretion. Johnny, judges, they have discretionary powers.
They do.
Even lower courts, the magistrate, they also have discretionary powers. Sometimes when they want to sentence somebody, they look at the person, they plea from the councils. And then if they were to take the upper limit, now because of the plea and other thing, they go for the lower. That's their discretion. They can decide to give you 20 years, or they will say because of the way you plead, this is your first time, let's give him 5 years. It's the discretion. The law allows that.
Right.
And how come the president cannot exercise discretionary power? Is it capricious? That's what you are talking of. 296. Is it capricious? It's not capricious. The man is saying, you are the Chief Justice. A committee is said to investigate you. Why will you continue to be a Chief Justice while you are being investigated? Just to make it fair. Just step aside. So that you can have ample time to deal with this.
But the MPP says they are going on a demonstration.
That is the hypocrisy here.
Why is it hypocritical? You were on a demonstration for the removal of the Chief Justice, the former chief, the Bank of Ghana governor. The NDC was on a demonstration. In fact, you were called hooligans on that day.
Yes, I remember. And I'm saying that. Look.
Now the MPP wants to demonstrate on the removal of another big fish.
I'm saying that is where the hypocrisy comes from. I've just run you through what happened under Nanado. And the same thing is happening under President John Dramani Mahama. And some people think that he doesn't have... The MPP has designed a grand plan to undermine the authority of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
How would you say that? But you don't get that from the tone of the press conferences that are held.
That is it. The person's reading the press and talking tough forgot that the same thing happened under Nana Akufo-Addo. A petition was sent to him. So imagine at that time, there was a prima facie case against the lady. So this Nana Akufo-Addo was saying, I'm not going to pursue the matter. I'm not going to form a committee. Was it what he was going to do? So because this Council of State found a prima facie case against the lady, hell must break loose. Hell must break loose. And because it's John Dramani Mahama, who is the president, implementing his executive powers there in the constitution, some group of people think that he shouldn't be president.
I don't think this is about personality. I think this is about the law.
I'm saying it. It's not about law.
You are insisting it is about the personality.
It's about personality and the party involved. Because what is different from what Nana Akufo-Addo did? Tell me the difference. What is the difference? Under the same Article 146, Nana Akufo-Addo passed the petition, Koku Azar petition to Council of State. Council of State returned a verdict and Nana Akufo-Addo dismissed because the verdict said there was no prima facie. This time, Council of State, with these legal luminaries in it, found a prima facie case and said, since there is a prima facie, a committee must be set. The president said the committee and asked that the woman should step aside and hell must break loose because it's John Dramani Mahama.
There are those who hold the view also that, look, this is in the book, the letter of the thing, but, it should not be implemented because, it's just there to, guide us, but not to be implemented. I'm sure you've heard that argument.
I heard that argument. Sometimes I ask myself, I'm a student of law. I'm not a lawyer yet. But my reading of the law tells me very clear that when they brought the Constitution into force, we voted yes for it. It means everything in that Constitution must be implemented until it is amended. It's a law. If you violate any of it, the punishment therein is there. And I was expecting the same group who are making this noise. When Nana Akufo-Addo was violating the Constitution, he should have been impeached. They should have asked for his impeachment. But they were quiet. Because it's MPP and Nana Akufo-Addo. Today, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has not violated even one clause under an article here. He hasn't. He has followed through the process. He has made sure that the sanctity of the Constitution is upheld. He has made sure that the lady liberty and then interest is hugely protected by the Constitution. The president has not done anything against the Chief Justice. The president made sure that she's properly taken care of. That's why the president has not sidestepped the process and asked that just go and avail yourself before the committee. If you are able to talk and exonerate yourself, the committee found favors in what you have said, you return to your job. Is that not what it is?
So this is not witch hunting.
Who is witch hunting who? That is a problem. But compare that one to when they sacked Charlotte or say, in 2016, these people were on campaign platform, warning that when they get power, they were going to remove her because John Mahama brought her. And that John Mahama brought her to rig the elections and all this. It was all over there in 2016.
The same argument is being made about you and the Supreme Court judges who have now been nominated to be appointed after vetting by Parliament. Same argument is being made now. Yes,
has John Dramani Mahama stood somewhere during the campaign era to say, if I come, I'm going to remove the Chief Justice and Justice?
He said he wants to balance the bench.
That's the words of MPP. Nobody said it. I was in that meeting in September.
He didn't say that.
He never said such a thing.
That he was going to balance
No.
Lawyers in the NDC should take advantage of the fact that the bench is
that's
available.
what I'm saying. MPP is always setting an agenda. When you defeat them in one time, they'll cook another one. The first one they came out was that John Dramani Mahama met lawyers for NDC and told them that he was going to remove the justices of the Supreme Court and Chief Justice. When the evidence came out, they ran away from that evidence. Now they are back to say balance. That we said he was going to balance it. Johnny, interestingly, now I'm not dead. I'm alive. I was in that meeting. I sat through the meeting at home.
What did he say?
His Excellency was telling our lawyers, fine brains. You know, we have the finest brains when it comes to legal matter in NDC.
You are telling me.
They're there. There are a lot of them. But they don't want to go to the bench. They always enjoy themselves at the bar, doing their private district. And he told them, look, this best brain some of you have, if you make it available to the bench, it will assist the country governance. Because some of the things I hear from some of you and the legal thing, the way some of them are lecturers at Ghana Law School and all the legal stuff, but they don't want to go to the bench. So if you don't go to the bench and these people take over the place and they are given this kind of ruling they are given to the extent the National Security Minister is even worried about that kind of ruling. So take it on board that some of you should take interest in going to the what? To the bench. He was just advising them to come in because they have the best brains. And it's true. That's why they are saying if the best people refuse to vote, illiterates will go or fools will go and vote for a president for you and you'll be in trouble.
Doc.
That's what happened to us in the 8 years. Now we want to stop that. The president has come in.
It's not fair to say that people who voted for us in the last 8 years. That's so harsh to say.
I'm saying that if
because I want us to wrap up this conversation.
Yes, I'm saying that if
keep
people
dropping clinkers.
John Dramani Mahama, you see the results he got. Do you know that all facets of life in Ghana came out massively to vote for him?
That's what the records show.
They all came out massively because they saw that this man is the best person who can reset this country. That's why he got over 57%, unprecedented, and gave Nanado and his group, Baubia, 38%.
This is 41%.
It's not 41, it's 38%. I say, but see, these people, you don't know them. They got 38%. And we are saying that because they refused to vote in 2020 and they rigged the election, they got their parakeets to get them back to office in 2020. They said, no, this time around, we'll come out. We won't allow this group again. And Johnny, I say I've been a student of political science and politics for a very long time. Check, from 1972 up to 2000, MPP never came near power again. Because Ghanaians don't want them to come near power. When they come near power, Ghana is always in tension. There's always tension and the economy is in trouble. They rape the country when they come in.
Okay.
So for the 2 years they were in power from 69 to 72, Ghanaians said, this will not to allow them to come to power. They never. That's why 79, Limam from nowhere, a parliamentary candidate, turned overnight to become presidential candidate, beat them down with Victor Uso and all this, gave them heavy blow. That's how they are, because Ghanaians don't want them. They prefer to have a novice than MPP.
Thank you.
And that is what happened. Now today, thank God, we have the best president, John Dramani Mahama, in the drive seats. They are uncomfortable with
early days yet.
Early days, 120 days, the promises will be made. Can't you see that all of them has been implemented? Is it early days? Is the president who promised 60 ministers, now he's doing 56. The country is running smoothly, everything is going on. Left to them, 126 ministers. Where did we land us? Where did he land us? Today, the man is running 56 ministers.
I mean, just 4 months.
I am saying that we gave promises for 4 months, 120 days, and we are implementing.
But you have 4 years, so take your time.
Good. I said, and our adage, a screw that would turn to a hernia will start from the early days.
You owe ABA Fuseni.
That is a
Baba,
fact.
you owe him royalties.
Yes, he's my senior brother. So
Anyway,
these are the things.
Doc,
so
we
he
have
has
to
shown
go.
way that he's going to do it, and he's on course on that. No distraction. We will not allow any distraction, and let me serve notice. We won't allow anybody to undermine his authority as the president.
Doc, we thank you very much indeed for your time.
And he's doing just that.
Sofo Tanko Rashid Computer is the acting chief executive officer of GIFEC, and he joined us this morning for some exclusive conversation. Doc, thank you very much. We wish you all the best.
I'm grateful.
Got to do